The Tigers destroy the Colorado Rockies. Let's talk about that and much, much more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Welcome in, welcome all. The Detroit Tigers destroyed the Colorado Rockies on Tuesday evening at Comerica Park by a score of 11-0. This was at no point a competitive baseball game. And I don't say that lightly, right? I don't mean to just say like, oh yeah, like the final score, we crushed them. Like, oh, but it was close for the first 3 innings. I think like, no, literally from like the second pitch of the game, third pitch of the game throughout, at no point was this anything other than complete and utter domination by your Detroit Tigers. We have so much to talk about on the field, clearly. We also have quite a bit to talk about off the field. In this one, we got some Reese Olson updates. I feel like we give a lot of Reese Olson updates that aren't really updates. This one seems a little bit more concrete. We have a big debate that's been going through the fan base that I'm going to weigh in on here. And then we will obviously continue talking about this Rockies series and the push for the postseason on 11-0 victory. So as it stands right now, I'm recording this pretty much immediately after the game, the Tigers game, that is. Looks like the Twins are going to beat the Angels. They're up 4 as it stands right now in my world. And the Orioles are also beating the white goodness, the Red Sox. I got my socks confused there. The Orioles are also beating the Red Sox. And so what that will mean, then the Padres don't play till later this evening. Again, all of these games will already be decided by the time you're listening to this. So depending on the Mariners' outcome, there's a chance the Tigers stand alone as the best team to not be in the wild card picture. But if the Mariners win, then they will be tied with them and the Red Sox will fall below them. But it doesn't look like they're gaining any ground on Minnesota, at least on Tuesday. That being said, this was still an awesome win. This was absolutely fantastic for so many reasons. At the end of the day, like, you can only control what you can control, right? That's what my therapist tells me, at least, right? Like, you can only control your own performance, and the Tigers can only really focus on and worry about how they play every day. They can't go into every game going, oh, wow, I guess they can hope that the Twins lose, but there's nothing they can do about it. They got to go out there and take care of business and face the challenge that is in front of them. And ultimately, they are the better team in this series, comfortably. They're comfortably better than the Colorado Rockies, who are terrible. And they showed it. They showed it. And that is beautiful, because for so long, the Tigers were the Rockies, right? The Tigers were the team that everybody else in the league had this conversation about. And it was like, all right, you're playing the Tigers. Let's take care of business. You're the better team. Go on there and get the job done. And it's one thing to be the better team on paper. It's another thing to be the other team, be the better team on paper. And again, look like it so painfully, obviously. And you showed it in game 1. Keep showing it the rest of the series. I'm actually going to break my own rule here. And I am going to say that you should probably sweep this team. I think the White Sox are the only team this year that I've gone into a series or after one game in a series been like, all right, you should probably walk out of this with 3, right? That was my rule going into the year. Was I'm not sure this team is good enough where I should, not that they won't sweep anybody. They obviously swept the Mariners earlier in the season, right? Like, it's not that they won't. It's just I'm not going to go into any series demanding or expecting it. I may change my mindset here a little bit, right? And look, all it takes, if they do end up losing to the Rockies one of these games, all it takes is the Twins losing, and you haven't lost any ground, and really no one's the wiser. But like, again, from a pure, you can only control what you can control mindset, you are so much the better team right now, and you're not playing in Coors. You should sweep this baseball team. Now, naturally, they'll lose on Wednesday, and this will be hilarious to look back on. But if you do sweep them, if the Tigers do sweep the Rockies, they will be 76-71. They're now 74-71 going into the weekend. 76-71. And that would be a position where you would put yourself in a position to really have some fun here and genuinely and truly be in the thick of the wild card race. Now, obviously they are in it right now, but if you're 76-71, you're 5 games over 500, and you're probably knocking on the door of the actual third wild card spot, and we're not comparing ourselves to other teams that aren't in the playoffs, right? We're not comparing ourselves to the Red Sox and the Mariners who aren't playoff teams right now. And so I think that would go a long way. So as far as what went right, I mean, pretty much everything, dog, right? It went 11-0. Not too much went wrong. This was obviously an offensive explosion. We'll start on that side of the ball. Parker Meadows with a leadoff home run off of his high school teammate, which I thought was a pretty cool storyline that the Tigers broadcast and Bally Sports found out there. But he got on base, I think it was 4 times by the end of this ball game. Yeah, he goes 2 for 3 with 2 walks and a home run. His season stats are now like actually not bad, which is so remarkable. Not only are they not bad, I think they're borderline above league average. I think a 744 OPS is above league average this year. Do you know how unreal that is given where he was at? He was hitting like 101 with an OPS in the 400s when he got sent down. And he played for like a while. That was what, like 6 weeks of sample? That was a long sample size. That's a lot of not good ABs. And he's been so ridiculously good since coming back that he's going to end the season as an above league average hitter, despite over a month of being like the worst hitter in baseball. He is Superman. Like I've said it before, he is legitimately Superman. Like, what can't he do? It's remarkable. He continues his hot stretch, played great defense in center field as he always does, great base running as he always does, on top of the walks and the home run in this ball game. But this was not just the Parker Meadows show. Again, this was an entire team effort. 11 runs does not happen just willy-nilly and just because of one player. I mean, yeah, like literally, if you look at the lineup, Jace Young and Jake Rogers, I think were the only 2 starters without a hit. Yeah. Oh, I guess Kerry Carpenter as well. But Jace Young and Kerry Carpenter both drew walks. Jake Rogers was the only person that did not reach base. That's one player. Remarkable offensive performance by this team. Obviously, Riley Green, really good day at the office, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a walk. Matt Vierling, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Colt Keith, 2 for 4. Like just a fantastic performance. I know I'm really reiterating and just kind of talking in circles here, but like everybody you can point to is like, oh yeah, like that they had a good day too, right? Like pretty much everybody. Trey Sweeney, I thought looked good at the plate yet again, 1 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. Good to see him continue to hit the ball well. He had a flyout in this game that I thought he got a really good piece of too. Kerry Carpenter with some good at-bats. The walk, had a sac fly on top of that. All around, fantastic offensive performance by these Detroit Tigers. Let's talk about, I think it's wild to say that the star of the show in this ball game is the pitching, given the fact that the team scored 11 runs. But I think that's probably the case this time around. And again, that's a testament to how good of an overall team effort it was. Keider Montero goes a complete game shutout, something the Tigers have not had in quite some time. We will talk about that and more right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Game Time. Game Time is the definition of clutch, and they now have a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes it easier to get your tickets for all of your favorite live events And honestly, it filters out the fluff. It shows you only the incredible deals on great seats that you want to see, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And on top of that, I mean, they have so many fantastic features, right? We talk about it all the time. They have their all-in pricing where you can turn on the tab and then it will show you the total price up front with no surprise checkout fees or late fees or anything like that. Seat views, you can see your seat before you purchase. The lowest price guarantee, well, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And then obviously the Game Time ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app and take the guesswork out of buying tickets. With Game Time, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to that everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 2 against the Colorado Rockies, talking about anything else surrounding the Tigers organization as well. After you make us your first listen, make Sully over at Locked On MLB your second listen. Host Paul Sullivan is giving you the best baseball insight you can possibly imagine as the playoffs loom and the Tigers are in that playoff picture, baby. Check it out anywhere you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, talking about what went right in this ball game, there is no denying that it was a great offensive performance, but that is almost overshadowed by the phenomenal pitching performance by Keider Montero. That is a Maddox, everybody. That is a complete game shutout in less than 100 pitches, fewer than 100 pitches. Pardon my English there. 9 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. I'm having a hard time really deciding, I guess, which part of this performance was my favorite. Like, what's my biggest takeaway? What's the thing that I appreciate or like the most about this performance? Was it the efficiency? Because he was unbelievably efficient. Was it the fact that he threw 9 innings when this team desperately needed somebody to go deep into a ball game, right? Give the bullpen a day off. Huge. Was it the fact that he had 0 walks? Because that's very high on the list. That is way up there, folks. way up there. 0 walks is a beauty. Or is it the fact that he faced the minimum? The Tigers posted that a Tigers pitcher has not faced the minimum since 2011. That is so long ago. So much has happened in this organization since 2011. They've made a World Series since the last time a starting pitcher has faced the minimum. Unbelievable. Or is it the 17 swings and misses? 17 whiffs. My favorite pitch? I don't know. It's one of 2. I think that there's really 2 pitches that made his outing as effective and as efficient as it ended up being. One of those was the knuckle curve. It was absolutely stellar. He was getting swings and misses on it all outing. He actually had an over 50% swing and miss rate on his knuckle curve in this outing. So out of all of the swings that were against his curveball, over half of them were swings and misses. That is phenomenal. That is elite territory for that pitch. But I think that the pitch that really is something that I harp on a lot on this show with all starting pitchers, all pitchers really in general, and is going to be the my favorite pitch of the outing is going to be his fastball. And the reason why is because he had command of it, right? It wasn't any faster than it normally is. It didn't have any more spin than it normally does. It didn't have any more ride than it normally does. It was located incredibly well. He had a 31% called strikes plus whiffs percentage. If you're a longtime listener to the show, that was one of our favorite stats last year. I haven't brought it up as much this year, but that means that almost 1 out of every 3 pitches he threw in this outing was either a called strike or a swinging miss strike. CS, called strikes plus whiff, W percentage. That's really good. That's a really, really good number. Anytime you start flirting, in the 30% with that number, you're talking about a pretty darn good outing in that regard. And the fastball, I think, is the most versatile pitch, and that's why it was so good to see him locate it well, right? Like when it is located well, it can get ground balls, it can get fly balls, it can get called strikes, it can get whiffs. It did all of those things. His fastball got people out in every single possible way you can fathom getting somebody out on a baseball field. Got a handful of swings and misses, right? 5 or 6, I think, on the fastball alone. Very good. Got a lot of weak contact. Got some routine fly balls, got some ground balls, right? Also got 8 called strikes on his fastball in this outing. Was really just pestering them low in the zone, especially righty, going low in the zone with the fastball a lot. I can't say enough good things about this outing. I give Keider Montero all the credit in the world. And it was so weird to me how much people were upset with him. I don't know. I've been very consistent about my opinion of Keider Montero since the second he got called to the majors, right? He's going to take his lumps. He's going to really struggle some outings. That is going to happen. But the stuff is good enough where I was willing to take a chance on it when the Tigers were 11 games under 500 and not playing for too terribly much. Clearly, they turned the season around. They're now in the playoff hunt. And Keider Montero is still pitching for them and now pitching unbelievably incredible. Not only incredible just from an important standpoint, but incredible as far as his performance goes as well. And then, like I said earlier, the innings is like the unsung, storyline here. The fact that he can give the bullpen an entire day off is absolutely phenomenal. So tip of the cap to Keider Montero, all the credit in the world. Nicely done. And that is why you have to have patience in the game of baseball. We are so reactionary in not only just in baseball. This is kind of like a society thing. You gotta wait it out sometimes. Reese Olson got popped and had a 9 ERA in AAA when he first got called up. He's now one of the better pitchers on the team. Tarek Skubal certainly didn't look like this when he first got called up, right? Got to have some patience sometimes. And I'm not saying Keider Montero is going to turn in to anybody that I just listed. He might be a reliever when it's all said and done. But it's performances like this that make me think, okay, it's worth at least seeing what we got in him and continue trying him out as a starter for the rest of this season. What went wrong? I don't know. I this might be the first time I'm genuinely stumped. Like Jake Rogers at the plate. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Is that, I guess, if I had, but he wasn't even supposed to start. The only thing that went wrong is that the entire team has the flu. Like, that's the only actual thing that went wrong in this game. Let's transition into stuff here. This was the Tigers' Jordan flu game. All right. This was the Jordan flu game. The back against the wall, need to win to stay in the playoff hunt. The Tigers go out there and win 11-0, while allegedly 14 players are having some sort of sickness that they caught in San Diego, or in California, not San Diego. Goodness gracious. I don't know. In California, on the West Coast road trip, apparently they all caught something, and now half of the team, 14 is over half of the roster. That's ridiculous. It's very frustrating. Actually, that's exactly half now in September with the September call-ups being what it is. Spencer Torkelson pulled from this game right before the start of it. Andy Ibanez replaces him. He was under the weather, not feeling well. Dylan Dingler was supposed to start this game. Pulled as well for the same reason. Boy, am I glad that they went out there and won like they did, because I did not want to come on here and be like, oh my goodness, we lost to the freaking Rockies away from Coors because everybody got sick. Don't let the flu derail, or whatever it is, derail what they got going on, and they certainly didn't in this ball game. Let's keep the ball rolling here. Got a few more items in stuff that we got to talk about. We will do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because, unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch all of the winnings roll in. Also, for September, one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on Prize Picks. Again, for all of September. That's right. Only 1 yard can get you an automatic win every football season in the month of September. 4 weeks of free W's. Now, he didn't eclipse that by much. I'm just kidding. But don't miss on this basically automatic win over at Prize Picks right now. You can also 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks, as we talk about all the time. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every day. So, stuff. Okay, we talked about the flu. Hopefully that gets ironed out pretty quickly. Don't need that affecting the playoff run here. It's wonderful to be talking like that again, right? Again, 3 games in the amount of time they have left is a lot. That is a lot. And I know it doesn't seem like it because they gained so much ground because the Twins just keep losing, but like that's a lot of ground in this little amount of time. But the fact that it's not impossible and has everybody tuning in and on the edge of their seat and rooting for the Tigers deep into September and scoreboard watching because there is actually somewhat of a chance is just a beautiful thing, baby. Just a beautiful thing. Few big talking points that kind of circulated the Tigers fan base over the last 48 hours. One, Reese Olson flying out to pitch a bullpen session in front of Chris Fetter and AJ Finch, combining Fetter and Hinch there. Chris Fetter and AJ Hinch. It sounds like they're either going to tell him after seeing him pitch in person that he needs one more rehab start or he's going to join the team. I don't know in what capacity. His last rehab outing was 3 innings and the one before that was 2. So I don't know if they're just going to go from that straight to, 6 or 7 again. But I don't care. Like Reese Olson being on this team, no matter if it's only like in a couple inning, long reliever role because they want to, they don't want to make him a starter right away again, or whether it is a starter, I don't care. Just get him back on my mound because he's one of the best pitchers this organization has to offer. So I am awaiting that diagnosis and awaiting what the coaching staff thinks when they do watch him. But that seems to be the most recent plan. He just pitched earlier this week again in Toledo, 3 innings of shutout ball. Big talk surrounding Tarek Skubal and what to do with him. There's a lot of theories flying around. Everybody's trying to get, Skubal to pitch in the most meaningful games. It doesn't look like the Tigers are going to pitch him against the Orioles and reshuffle his spot in the rotation in order to make that happen. It sounds like they're pretty keen on him pitching the series finale against the Rockies and then again after the Orioles series, which will be against the Rays. And then that could set him up to pitch one more time there in the final series against the Chicago White Sox. So I know a lot of people were trying to do some mental gymnastics there to figure out how they could get Skubal to pitch against the Orioles. Evan Petzold of the Freep wrote a whole article about this situation in there. He did not make it sound like the Tigers were going to reshuffle anything to make sure Skubal was pitching in Baltimore. So we'll see what happens, right? This organization notoriously holds everything very close to their chest, especially AJ Hinch when it comes to managerial stuff. So we'll see. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but from what the people that have sources, unlike myself within the organization, it sounds like that is not going to be the case. So I thought that was worth bringing up. Then we'll get to the big talking point, which I don't have too much to say on it, to be honest, but it is the talk of the town. Outside of the Tigers playoff push is, I believe, the post originated from Mark Ryan of 97.1, who I follow on social media and provides some great sports content in this town. I believe he was the origin of it. If it has a different origin, this whole, this whole dialogue and this whole conversation, then I apologize. But I'm pretty. That was the first that I saw of it. Posted a clip from, I forget the show, which is also bad journalism on my part, but I know that Trevor Plouffe was on the show. Trevor Plouffe is on a few shows, so it's hard for me to keep track. But apparently, Trevor Plouffe, I believe it was Trevor Plouffe, said that he is friends with Jack Flaherty, and Flaherty would have re-signed with the Tigers if the Tigers would have offered something before trading him. But now that they have traded him, his price has gone up dramatically, and that is probably not going to be in the cards. And Mark Ryan, I believe, had posted that this, I don't know, felt like a mistake, or maybe said like, ouch, or something like that, or like, this sucks to hear, something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him exactly. And that started this huge debate about whether selling was the correct move given where the Tigers are at. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. This is not a belief in the organization thing. This is not like, oh my goodness, you don't believe in the Tigers, and look at you, like they were way under 500 and you didn't say they were going to go on a run, and then they did, and like, you're so wrong. Yeah, I was very wrong. I openly admit anytime I am wrong, or at least try to. I do not fear that. But I think when it comes to this situation specifically, and the difference between selling or like buying or standing pat at the deadline, pitching has not been the issue. The Tigers have actually gotten phenomenal pitching. The Tigers as a team have actually been one of, depending on what stats you use, if not the best pitching team since the trade deadline. Would Jack Flaherty had made a huge difference? Would I love a pitcher of Jack Flaherty's caliber still in the rotation today? Obviously, right? Yes. But you can't play the hindsight game here. This was a team that was dead in the water, that nobody expected to come out of it. And the reason they have gotten back into it is not because of the offense. The reason they have gotten back into the playoff picture is because of the pitching. Also, need I remind everybody, the guy who's playing shortstop every day was in that trade. And his OPS is now up to 721. That's around league average. Got off to a really slow start. He's been a lot better lately. You also got another prospect that's has like an 1,000 OPS down in high single A and has been crushing the baseball. And if you really like Jack Flaherty that much, right? If you're really like, hey man, I don't care what you say, it was stupid, right? That is your prerogative. More power to you, right? I love differing opinions, and I have absolutely no issue with that. More power to you. If you are of that mindset, he's a free agent in a month, right? If you are really that keen on, like, it was a huge mistake to get rid of him. I wanted to keep him. The two players we got can go away. I don't care. It was the wrong move. He's going to be a free agent in about 6 weeks. If you really want him that badly, the Tigers are going to be able to get him again. In no way, shape, or form do I regret what the Tigers did at the deadline. Absolutely zero. Keep winning, baby. Keep winning. You have Tanner Gordon versus Casey Mize tonight as you are listening to this on Wednesday. Let's have fun, man. Let's have fun. Let's get weird. Let's make this as fun and as electric and as entertaining of a September as we have had in quite some time. Let's scoreboard watch here before I sign off. The Red Sox still losing. The Twins are now up 6 on the Angels. Highly doubt they make that up. So you're going to be 3 games back probably, but depending on what happens to the Mariners-Padres game, which still hasn't started, 10 o'clock game over there on the West Coast, you may be standing alone. We'll see. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.